You can catch me later in the morning. Out with my whole team, we drink our ass off. I'ma be the one that's chillin', sitting cozy with the OG vintage Snapback on. You can catch me later in the morning. Out with my whole team, we drink our ass off. I'ma be the one that's chillin', sitting cozy with the OG vintage Snapback on. Feel good, I look good, feel good, look good. Put it down, man.
Welcome to episode 8 of Snapbacks and Mimosas. I'm your host, Elias. Kind of finished my orange juice this morning, so y'all can call me Champagne Poppy today. Okay. Delicious. But I got two of my great friends and my brothers on the podcast today. I got Shameet and I got Elias. Shameet, we graduated from the University of Houston together. Started his own, before he got to college, he started his own philanthropy. We're going to touch on that, Dream League. And then, went to Atlanta and he started his own business. We're going to touch on that as well. And I got my boy Elias. And again, University of Houston, Pi Kappa Phi, and then help running his family business. And we're going to all just touch on that, touch on business and, the ins and outs of that. So welcome on the podcast, guys. I'm glad you joined me today, even on a Saturday.
Yeah, appreciate you having us, man.
Thanks for having us.
For sure. So just want to start off. I want to see how y'all doing mentally. I know y'all been in the house for a minute. Check on your friends 2020. That's the movement.
Man, it's been different. Not used to working from home. Ever since I graduated, I was pretty much in an office or running around doing something. So since March, I've been working from home, and I'm not a fan of it. I like the office life, just that social aspect, getting out there and everything. So it's been different, but I mean, gotta adapt, and so that's what I've been doing.
I feel that. What's up with you, Elias?
Man, it's been wild. Starting out COVID, when it was all crazy, I guess like March, April, when everything was blowing up, Twitter was going wild, stay inside, don't go outside.
Yeah.
No one really knew what was going on. The mask thing wasn't really a thing yet. Our business had to make a decision. So we closed down to make sure everything was okay. We closed down for a little bit, and then the PPP program came out from the government, which is the payroll protection program. And, if we were to stay closed that whole time, who knows where we'd be right now? We probably wouldn't be open. We'd probably be closed forever. But that PPP came in, and, it gave us an opportunity to not only to stay in business, but also to help out our employees. Because, in reality, we're just like them at some point. Some point we're employees as well. So, letting them feed their families throughout that time was a big decision to make. And, we went right ahead. We jumped back in the business, opened it up. So we've been working there in the office, not too much movement outside of that. But during that time when we were at home for 2 weeks, even then, and even now, like staying home outside of the office, not as much anymore, but that time has been kind of crazy, and mentally it's been, a little bit draining. Hitting up friends, you can only talk to them on FaceTime.
And, that was crazy. You had to be like creative with your meetups, like Zooms and that stupid house party app that we all had to play. And by the 5th game, you already know the answers to everything, so it don't fucking matter. So I get it.
Man. It's been wild. Trying to stay in tune, trying to stay focused, because it's easy to just sit home and turn on the game or play video games. And then you get tired of that, and it kind of takes a toll because naturally you want to be moving. So when you're not doing that, it takes a toll on your mind and body. And so now we're back at work. Really in the groove of things. We're starting to get there, starting to get in the groove of it. So it's good to be back a little bit, but we're hoping everybody gets back soon.
I feel that. Yeah, I'm definitely I want to touch on that whole experience when, later on. But I want to touch on so you guys both were in or are currently in business. And I want to start off with you, Shameet. You started your own business, Huddle House, right after college. But before then, like, was that a thing that you were planning on doing, like going from University of Houston straight into like owning your own business?
So not really. Growing up and everything. So I came from a family of like all medical professions.
I remember.
But for me, the medical field it wasn't for me. I just knew it from day one. I was like, I can't be a doctor. I don't want to do it. So business was the way for me. And, going through college, down at Bauer at U of H, being a business owner at some point was always on my mind. I never really had a clear vision as to what or when. But I grew up really close to my uncle that's out in Atlanta. And he's kind of like me. He owns his own medical practice and everything. And he's always had a business mind. And to this day, he'll tell me, he's like, he wishes he went into business over the medical field. And so we always talk about business and stuff. So through college, he was always looking at ideas and things like that because he knew I wanted to get into that. So one day he came across Huddle House. This was first semester of my senior year, so 2015. And he started saying, hey, look into this. Why don't you come up here? Let's check it out. That's where their corporate office was. So in 2015, I went there once, checked out a couple of their restaurants, met with, a couple of their chief executives, actually met with the CEO, CFO, COO, kind of got a little bit of knowledge about them to hear what they're about. And so that was a good experience to get that. And kind of as my second semester started in 2016, was doing a lot of research on them, and they were showing a lot of interest in having people join and growth. And so actually their COO called us one day and said, if we're interested, they really want to bring us on board as a franchisee because they wanted to kind of get that millennial ownership into there. And I was kind of the person that they were envisioning for that. And so I actually went there, I still remember it was like April of 2016. So before I even graduated, I went there and did their full kind of what they call a discovery day. So it's where you talk to pretty much everybody in their office, marketing, finance, CEO. They give you the full rundown. And at the end of the day, they pretty much hand a contract to you, say, this is the offer we want to make you. Do you want to sign as a franchisee? And so my whole family was there. My uncle and his family were there. And they kind of all just like looked at me and they were like, what do you want to do? Because, you're the one running it because, everybody else has their own professions, and kind of just sat there and I was like, hand me a pen. I want to do this. And so actually a month before I even graduated, I had my career path there in place for me. And so that kind of last month of college, I was I don't think it had hit me yet as to what was to come. When it started hitting me was when I was packing up all my things in Houston and getting ready to move down to Atlanta that August. And that's when it hit me because as soon as I got to Atlanta, I had to hit the ground running. There was no location or anything. That was all on me. So I was spending my days driving around, the Atlanta, the suburb areas, finding a location that I wanted, that fit their realm of what their vision is as well. And it was tough, but I found the location. I had to work on the lease, negotiating that, got the rates that we wanted. Then I went into finding the builders, I had to contract that out. And so anything you could think of, the whole 9 yards to starting a business was on my shoulders, the permits from the city, staffing the place, the training, supply, like I did all that. Of course, the franchise was there to help as well because we used a lot of their suppliers for stuff. But like the contracting for the build out and the city permits, that was all on me because every city, everything's different. And it was tough. Let me tell you, it was very tough, but I just kind of had to push through it. Had a lot of, mental, physical breakdowns just throughout the day, every evening when I went home. It was tough. It was tiring. Barely slept because there's just so much on your mind. And Elias can touch on this as well. But when you're in a business and you own something, you are working 24/7. There is no time to rest because even when you think you're done for the day, you're at home, but you're like, what's going on at my store right now? And so eventually, like when my restaurant opened up, we had a security system, and I had the cameras linked to my phone. And gosh, so I still to this day, I wish I didn't do that, because like I'd be sitting at my townhome, and I'm just sitting there like staring at my camera. I'm like, oh, what's this employee doing right now? And then I just feel myself constantly calling and being like, hey, I see table 16 is completely dirty and it's empty in there. Why is the place not cleaned up? Or this person's not being taken care of. And so it became really stressful. And so I had it for about 1.5 years. And, that last 6 months that I owned it, it wasn't that we weren't doing well. We were actually doing very well and everything. But for me, it was, the restaurant industry, if you don't have enough hands that can help you, then it's very tough. And so it was very tough for me because I was doing everything, operations and managing inside the store, plus all the ownership stuff on the outside. Because, the rest of my family all had their own professions, so they couldn't put the time and hours into it. And so for me, physically, it was just draining. And so I had to talk to, our partners and say, I can't do this anymore unless we find more help, which unfortunately didn't work out for us, which was fine. We found a great owner who had a whole they had a whole team. They had somebody that just managed the operations, just did the inside of the store, so they had like 6 people in place, each to spearhead to certain things. So sold them the restaurant. I knew it was going to go into, good hands there. Left with no regrets. I mean, just what I learned from that entire experience, starting at 22 years old. Luckily for me, there's not many 22-year-olds that I know of that can have that experience like I did.
No, hats off to you on that one. That's crazy.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. So, growing up now, I have all that experience. So I can look at jobs here and there, and I can say, I have experience in this, even though I graduated with finance. I could always go into something operations or, marketing strategies, because I have that experience. And actually, I was just in Atlanta, it was like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, I want to drive by my restaurant. I don't want to go in. God, I don't want to step in there again. Absolutely not. But I just wanted to drive in because, it's like I started that restaurant for the entirety that it's open now. I started it when it was a, grass field. And so it was really cool to, drive by, see it's still busy, still see people in there. And so, that was a really great experience for me from the business side.
That's awesome. Well, I want to touch on Elias. I know yours is a different experience because it's a family business.
That's right.
And I know you were working it during college. So how was that balance for you going to get that degree? I mean, is your degree, I don't think your degree is in business, or was it?
My degree was in logistics. So it had some degree with it. When I initially picked that degree, it was kind of finding something that I wanted to do to graduate, graduate even earlier and, get out of school, but also put it towards business. So I chose logistics just to get some ideas. I found out really quick that it was kind of a mindset that I already had, that degree field. So I wish I would have done something else for sure, because I felt like in all those classes, it was just theories and ideas that I was like, this is that. It's clicking.
Do you think you already had that experience because like you've already were in the business? You know what I'm saying? Like you already had it. Yeah. Yeah,
like just being around my dad, my brother, our salesman, just hearing those words, kind of transactions, like hearing about transactions, hearing about accounts, how they're dealt with, things logistically. You start picking up those things like, okay, these are the barriers, these are the, things that the obstacles of business and solutions that people put in place already. So finding a balance wasn't too hard. Most of what I did during college was go in the office, go help out. When I was in college, my dad was, head of the business still in the mattress part, and my brother was heading up the sofa department. And so my brother was like, hey man, I kind of need you to help jump on. We got some people moving out, in and out. I'm kind of changing everything in the company because we need to really clean up. So my dad started this business 81. I believe it was 81. He started the business in a garage of our house. And, you know, while my older sister and older brother were growing up, he was making one mattress at a time, you know, from a mattress at a time to a truckload to take to the flea market, you know, sell to local people at the flea market. That went for a couple of years. And my younger brother was about, I believe, 16. And he was telling my pops, he was like, hey, man, pops, like, if we want to get somewhere with this, we need to move big time. Like, we make mattresses. Why not, you know, manufacture them for people? Why not sell them to retail stores? And my pops got convinced after a while because he loves being around the people. He loves being local. You know, he's even to this day he loves being in front of people, dealing with people face to face. Him knowing them and them knowing him. You know, having an interaction. And so it took a while to convince him, but he moved that. He grew it to the business it became it is today with mattresses. And my brother was like, okay, we got that part. Now we got to move another step. That's what we've been doing. He's truly the visionary, man. My brother, he's pushed us forward, and he pretty much called on me while I was in college. He said, hey, I could need an extra hand. You come in, you know, do some tasks for me. Anything that I can't do, pick up on. And you know, you're going to learn some things, and I want you to, you know, start out by booking trucks to bring in our foam, because we made a couple of changes to for our product to start making our stuff in-house to you know, cut down costs. So that was really what he was focused on. And so he's like, I want you to, you know, book out trucks to bring in foam. I want you to, you know, start ordering, you know, certain products for us to bring in. And then from then on, he was like, hey, this is going to deal with some of our house accounts. You know, then he was like, I want you to take care of the treasury, you know, take care of the bank, any companies that we have to pay, you know, us receiving money, things like that. So it's kind of grown into that of being from college of just helping out to now being full on, like, hey, if I'm out of town, like because we're kind of international now. If I'm out of town, if I'm, you know, across the border or whatever, I need you to, you know, watch the office while I'm there and, you know, take care of the company operations. And so I'll jump into that while he's gone. And then I still got to run my part, which is, you know, making sure everything's paid, everything's showing up. And now since my dad's in a hospital right now, I'm in charge of my dad's spot too, which is being in front of the people. So now it's like we're plugging holes in a dam because of COVID. It's hard to find workers, you know, it's hard to find employees right now. So right now we're plugging in holes, but we're growing. And that's the biggest blessing of it is, you know, pushing towards growth. And, you know, thankfully I got some people ahead of me that are my brother and my dad that, you know, have a vision and have the dedication to keep pushing us.
That's great. That's great. When you were saying that, like, was there a time, I guess, for both of you guys that when you're working, there's a learning curve, like you have to go through in terms of like handling people, like especially for you just starting the business from the ground up, like there was like no one like holding your hand to, like, you know, get things done. Like how was like that? Because you kind of spoke to it being kind of like a micromanaging with like it on your phone, like, but like, can you explain that a little bit more? I feel like there's a balance between, okay, I want my workers to be well, but I also like don't want like my investment to suck and fail, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, luckily for me, the franchise, they offered a full training program for me starting off, which gave me all the ins and outs, you know, how to handle all the reports and everything like that. But when it comes down to the micromanaging part, it's kind of exactly like you said. You know, you want your staff and everything to feel appreciated, feel like, you know, that they have that, you know, they bring that, you know, knowledge and, you know, success that's going to help you grow in there. But at the same time, you know, me constantly being on my phone and looking at the cameras, the biggest reason why that happened for me was, again, like you touched on, it was my investment, you know, that went into it. And, you know, in the business world, it comes down to, how can you succeed? I mean, you don't want your numbers to go down, right? You know, you need those to build, in order to go up. And so that for me was the biggest reason for kind of that micromanaging aspect. You know, checking the cameras, making sure that people were coming in, being treated right. People weren't just being given free food because, you know, some people, they don't see everything that, yeah, exactly. But, you know, some people, staff included, you know, they don't always see and know what an owner goes through or what an owner spends to keep that business running so that they get a paycheck every week as well. You know, sometimes they take things for granted, which, you know, it happened. It's fine. You know, every once in a while, people are going to get away with it, and that's fine. It happened. But the biggest thing is trying to control that as much as possible. And that's why being a business owner with a brand new business too, you know, you kind of have to be micromanaging because there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, you're starting off when you open on day one with, you know, zero profit.
Yeah.
Right. So zero profit, but then you're at a loss because you've got your, you know, your first food truck came in, you've got 20 people on staff that you're gonna have to pay within a week. So you're like, I need people to get in here, eat, no mistakes, because then I can't give discounts. I can't afford that right now. And so it was tough. And that's definitely something about the management and ownership side that if you owned a business, and like I said, Elias, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, especially that you're handling a lot of your finances, that's what your eyes are on the entire time. I mean, like I said, cameras in one hand on my phone, on my other, you know, on my laptop, I've got, you know, my business's bank account open. I've got my ordering details in. I'm like, okay, what did I spend this week on food? What does my staffing cost look like? And you're just always having to churn and figure it out because, I mean, you never know. You know, it's just like the life we're living in now. How many businesses have been affected? How many people have been affected? You know, that's the last thing you want, especially when you have people working for you. You know, you want them to be able to live a healthy life because you know that they're working and they're doing their best for you as the owner, and you want to help them do the best they can for themselves at the same time.
When you touched on the training that you received, like how in depth was this training? Like because I understand like they're still learning on the fly, so there's no such thing as like they're going to prepare you for everything you'll see as you know go through the steps.
Yeah, so it was about I think it was like a 6-week training. And so 2 weeks I spent at our corporate office in downtown Atlanta. That's kind of where they taught me what the different reports are, how to read them, how to handle the operational side. And the last 4 weeks I spent in a restaurant at a different huddle house training under them. 2 weeks I had to learn how to cook every meal on the menu.
Wow.
And 2 weeks I had to learn how to serve. And I mean, people would sit there and think like, oh, it's easy to crack an egg and mix it up and throw it on a griddle and make scrambled eggs. But no, it's really not. Like, you have to time that stuff out. Like, somebody's like, oh, I want my scrambled eggs, but I want them a little like runny.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I got to time it for this long and then get it off the grill before it starts burning. But then at the same time, you know, the standard meal was eggs, toast, and like bacon or sausage, and like an order of hash browns on the side. So then you had to be able to incorporate, okay, I got to put, you know, the bacon down, and then I got to put the hash browns down. I got to wait this long. Then I could put the eggs on, but then I got to wait this long and flip the bacon, flip the hash browns, drop the toast, you know. So you had to like be able to figure out and time all of that because, you know, if I finish, you know, eggs get cold really quickly. I mean,
Hell yeah.
Hey, y'all know
cold eggs.
And so like I can finish my eggs really quick, but if the bacon and hash browns aren't done, when that food goes out to the guest, they're gonna have cold eggs, and then they're gonna complain. And so it was intense. And I was just like, I never thought, like, I've cooked and stuff at home, and I never thought of it that way. Because at home, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. It's my own food. I can care less how it tastes. I just want food in my stomach. But when you're feeding others, you're like, oh, dang, man, I really have to get this, you know, squared, nailed down. And so from the cooking side, you know, that was that. And then from the serving side, oh my gosh, if you're a server and you watch this, or you've ever been a waitress, mad props to you, because I can't do it. I cannot do it. And it was rough. Memorizing the menu, you know, like, you have to remember, okay, does this meal come with a side? What kind of toast do they get offered? You have to ask them, you want your eggs cooked like this? Do you want your bacon crispy, or whatever it is?
Yeah.
And on top of that, memorizing it, getting it into the, computer system correctly. Because then you just look like a fool if you end up walking back to the table and you're like,
what you want to
oh,
get?
wait, what did you say about this? Or, oh, I forgot to ask you, do you want toast on the side? Like, come on, it's a primary breakfast joint. Of course you're going to have toast with it.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, constantly being like, kind of like, it seems like you're a creep because you're constantly looking at their table like, okay, that drink is half empty. I better get them a refill. Or their coffee, I don't see steam coming out of their coffee cup anymore. I better get them a hot cup of coffee.
See steam, dang.
Literally, they would tell us, they're like, pay attention to the cup, and if you see steam, you're good. If not, you better get them a nice hot cup. I'm just like, all right, man, this is insane. Yeah. I don't know what to do.
I got a newfound respect for the Waffle House. Just listen to that.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, sometimes you could walk into a restaurant and, being an owner, it looks like a mess sometimes. But then, like nowadays, I go in there and I'm like that quiet guest. I'm like, I know what these people are going through. I'm not going to sit here and, complain or get mad because, I mean, first off, the person can just be having a rough day. Happens to everybody. I mean, we've all had off days while working and stuff, or they're just slammed and you're just like, all right, you know what? Just let them be. They're doing their best and everything. And so there were nights where, I mean, I'd be at home. I probably went there like 5 a.m., left at maybe like 8 p.m., would get home and shower because I smelled like eggs.
Bacon.
I would shower, I'd get to bed, I'd be in bed at 9. I'm like, yes, okay, 4 o'clock, wake up tomorrow. But no, I get a call at like midnight and say, your midnight cook isn't here. Because we were a 24-hour restaurant. And so they'd be like, your 12 o'clock cook isn't here and nobody's answering their phone. So I'd be like, all right, I'll be there in 20. And just, have to get up and get over there and start cooking, or vice versa. A server didn't show up and I'd have to handle that. Couple nights I had to do both. I remember like the shift before they were, doing their closing duties and they're like, so-and-so cook and so-and-so server, they aren't here yet. And they're supposed to be here 30 minutes ago. I'm like, all right, I need you to stay there for like 28 minutes past your, clock out time. And, I'd have to handle serving and cooking all at once. And it was exhausting. And
that's
mentally,
wild.
physically, it was draining.
That's wild. Dang, all right. Well, that's crazy. Elias, so yeah.
Go for you so much. I know.
Yeah, right. I'm just like, damn. I can just see you just whipping and sweating and whipping like.
My blood's going hot. Real. I promise you, my blood's going hot right now.
Yeah, no, I remember there's times when I had to do both in like the middle of the night. And of course, when they come in at 12 or 1 o'clock, I mean, they came after a night of drinking, right? So they're like, I don't want to deal with this person right now. I'm exhausted as it is. So I'd be like cooking and I'm like yelling at them across the restaurant. How did you want your eggs? Because I wasn't listening to you. Man. I was just trying to get something going. And man, it was crazy.
Dang. But okay, Elias, same thing. Like you have to fill in for your dad being like the face and being outside, and then you have to do all the logistics and financial aspects. My question is like, did being a president of the fraternity, like how did that translate to you doing your job now?
Man, it's crazy you asked that. It's something I talk about with you, Carlson, who you had on the show. It's my boy. Shout out Carlson. Patrick, Riley, Santo, Jordan. That was a ride in itself. That whole time in Pi Cap, being president for 2 years. People say you're president for 1 year. I feel for you. President for 2 years. What are you doing? What are you doing? And I went through probably the wildest times our chapter had. Definitely with some things that popped up, things that went out of control real fast, out of our control. But it was a great learning experience. Looking back at it, I learned how to handle people, learning how people really, really work under pressure, how people show their true colors under pressure. You also learn how to, maintain through all the chaos that goes through an organization with, 60, 50 members. You're the president. You're the guy at the top. They all look at you. How do you react to that? How do you respond? And I'd like to say that I tried my hardest to make sure that we kept going in the right direction. I had help. Luckily, I had help for sure from a great advisor. Shout out Andre. That guy, always pushed us ahead, and he was a great mentor in terms of, saying, hey, I know it sucks. I know what we're going through is not the best time, but we need you. We need you right now, and I want to push you to get us out of this. And that really, man, it taught me, like how Shameet was talking about, just talking about handling staff. That's something, there's different levels of ownership for sure. For a corporation, a CEO, they're never really going to handle an everyday employee, someone who's a waiter, something like that. But for us, your family business or like Shameet, some franchise owner, we're hands-on in all aspects. We're there. And so if an employee, for instance, when I first jumped in, my brother took off for business for 2 months. He took off to Mexico to handle business over there. Yeah. And he was like, hey, you're the guy. Pops is over there. He's busy. He's doing his thing. You're the only guy. You got to make sure we're meeting our numbers while I'm gone. And we were going through some sort of a strike. Our guys, our production line was like, hey, we were like, you're not producing enough. They're like, you're not paying us enough. And, these guys are some of the top paid guys in the industry, because of the time they've spent there and things like that. And so we were really at butting heads at the time. And at one point, it was, I called my brother and he was like, hey, I know, things are tough and it looks like, you don't want to handle it. Like, I understand what position you are, but this is your time. Like, you got to make a decision. Are you going to let them kind of run over you and let the business fail? Or are you going to, step up and, make the right decision, tell them like, hey, let's talk, let's work this out, let's get it going. We didn't push product out. And essentially that's what happened. I was like, hey, I've been here before. It's like talking, it's like talking to college kids, they're not going to understand where you're coming from. They don't understand the ownership or the leadership, because they're not in that position and you're not in theirs really. And that's how they see it. So you got to talk to them in a way of, hey, you want to make more money? Let's make more money together. It's not just me. It's not just you. Let's make more money together. Let's come to an agreement and let's start pushing product out, because at the end of the day, we're all working for our customer, because that's who's bringing the money to our table. Exactly. So your business isn't going to grow if you're not taking care of your customers. And that really starts between that relationship with you and, your production line or your employees. So it was funny because hearing about Shameet's training, I'm laughing because Shameet had like a pretty in-depth training, with corporate and even another location. But me, it was just like, hey, man.
Yeah. It's family owned.
Go do that. Go do a wire transfer. Go meet this account. Go talk to the account. Tell them that we can't deliver their order, because that happens in business. Sometimes you run into things and you got to talk to another human being who's under pressure as well. They're trying to meet they're trying to meet terms with their clients, and you got to tell them, hey, I can't get you product right now, and it's because my company, unfortunately, right now is unable to. And I need you to understand that. And you kind of have to get to a point where they understand that so y'all can keep that business together. You also run into issues with, financial, like COVID. Right before COVID, we were at a point where like, hey, we got to start thinking financially, how are we going to handle this? Because we need to have money to, if we shut down for a couple months, we got to have money when we come back to, buy product, to bring in an inventory, to buy all, to start running production again, bringing employees. So it was like negotiating with our suppliers. Everybody thinks, with friends or just general public, that companies they're going to go buy product and they're gonna bring it in and they're gonna pay for it with cash right then and there. And
It's not like,
it's not like that. Like, you know, you have terms, you have credit. And then even with that, that's not all set in stone. There's a negotiation with that as well, where you'll hear of companies who have $300,000 worth of credit, you know, with somebody that's used up, and they will never pay it because they know that the other company can't sue them because it's not worth it for them. So long term, they're like, hey, let's keep running more business, and I'll start paying off that money I owe you. And it's it's crazy, man. The business world is crazy. When I first jumped in, well, I was telling my brother, like, hey, we have to pay this company off. We owe them so much money. Like, how are we gonna do it? And he's laughing at me. He's like telling my dad, like, listen to him.
he doesn't know what he's looking like. He's wet behind the ears. He doesn't. Young pup in the game.
And I was, it went from, being like, oh, how are we gonna pay them? What's gonna happen? To, we're gonna need a little bit of time. We're gonna need a little bit of time. The way my wallet works.
You know how it is. You feel me? You know how it is.
The guy who stretches out a little bit, But that's how how a lot of business works. Nobody really sees that. Like, we'll have a big customer that buys truckloads of mattresses from us, and they do the same thing. We, give them 30-day terms, and they're pushing 45, 50, 60 days, and you're, hey man, I need you to help me out, man. I need you to help me out. I need you to take care of some of these invoices. And they'll be like, okay, I'll take care of these 3 invoices, but send me a truck. I got to sell some stuff. But that's how we keep it moving, man. I think that's a big thing, learning credit, learning how to handle people. Because people are very fiery, really quick. I was actually telling my brother, I had a customer come in and this week. And so I'm in my dad's spot where I handle a lot of the sales, so they come in, I'm in a distribution center. So we have a lot of retail stores that come pick up every day. They pick up their orders, or they pick up a couple things that they were missing on the order. So we're also open locally to the public, just because, that's the area we grew up in. That's where we raised our business. So to offer back, we let the public come in and buy our product, direct from us, just very casually, just, here and there. And so I had a customer come in, and I was showing him our mattresses, and he was like, man, these aren't good enough. And I was like, hey man, like, these are twin size mattresses. You asked me for twin size. I thought it was for a kid. You told me it was for a kid. This mattress, like, you feel the springs, but people buy these mattresses because kids don't feel the springs. Kids slip on a twin size. They don't want anything too luxurious for a kid. Yeah. And he's like, well, these aren't good enough. Like, not for that price. Just yelling up. They started yelling, getting like really loud, and I was like, oh my God, like I need him to leave. Like I sell a retail store, so I was selling the public, and he's like, well, what's the cheapest you can do it for? And I'm like, that's the cheapest, man. Like, you're getting wholesale price. Like, and I'm adding taxes to it. Really, we're not making too much money off this. We're not a retail store. And so he's like, nah, man, you could take the taxes off. You don't have to pay the taxes. I was like, that's not how that works. That's not how that works, man. I'm a business. You're a person. That's not going to affect you.
Yeah.
And so he walked off and muttered some stuff. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to go back in my office. He comes back. He's like, how much you say it was again? And he placed the order. And I was telling my brother, man, like, this dude looked like he wanted to fight. Like he was like, at a point, I was like, man,
we need something.
Yeah, there's still business to be done there. Like, we might not be at, an agreement of how the characteristics of each other are, or how we do business. But at the end of the day, we have to come together and do business. He needs something. I need something from him. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. At the end of the day, we made that sale. And that's what, I'm learning every day to try and do that more and more, because man, there's some people out there business wise, they're the biggest pain in the ass, but at the end of the day, man, they put food on the table. So if you can find a way, hey, all the power to you.
I respect that. That's crazy. Like, I know I understand a little bit when you're talking about, like, you know, these invoices, pay this invoice off a little bit, like, so we can, you know, I can send you your shit. I mean, as a salesperson in tech for the last 2 years until I moved off from that area, I had to do the same thing. And I'm talking to these like big companies, like not even like, I think one of them was like Vice, not the magazine. I don't know if it's like the media, but Vice Media or something. But they had like some invoices. I don't know if I should say this, but they was they was behind on some shit, right? They was behind on some shit. But I had to, like, you know, like, hey, I could talk to my accounting team, but I'm gonna need you to take care of these invoices before I can, you know, place this order for you. It's just simple like logistics. But it in the time that it is like now, like you're telling, I'm glad that you're expressing like how it is during COVID, because honestly, like, not a lot of people know that from the business side of things. It's more of a, for the personal side of things. Okay, I'm hurting, but also like this business is also hurting. Like, yeah, and it's mostly the family owned like businesses, like that doesn't have the backing of the corporation and the backing of the banks. So like, I'm glad that you're able to share that point of view.
Oh yeah, man.
Share that to the masses.
It's a whole thing. You know, it was crazy about COVID is the fact that people are not seeing it too much, but the amount of people that are going and buying things right now, it's insane. It's insane for the mattress industry itself right now. For instance, the spring units, the springs that we put in mattresses. Right now, there's an industry shortage in the U.S. And that's because of a couple of things of anti-dumping laws with China. So American companies said, hey, we're fed up with China coming in and undercutting our sales. And so they went and sued China through the International Federation. And so China went and got taxed on that. And so they stopped selling here in the U.S. So it all came down to American companies. And American companies, super overwhelmed right now. Overwhelmed. We're talking about months. And so right now we're fighting against all our competition. Hey, you know, that company that we get our supplies from, they're like, we're going to take care of ourselves first for sure. Then we're going to take care of our, you know, our best customers and who we think they're our best customers. And so we're like, hey, how are we going to keep ourselves in that position?
Yeah, we got to be the best customer. Yeah.
If we're like, oh, we've been their best customer for 20 years, 30 years. There's someone right down below you who's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to put it all on the line right now. All on the line on this COVID, because I know people are going to fall apart. There's going to be companies that fall apart. And I'm going to go ahead and pay them all cash on delivery. That means when they send me stuff, I'm going to pay it right then and there.
Right there, yeah.
If I buy $18,000 worth of springs, I'm sending them a wire for $18,000 right then and there. And there's some companies who can't do that. They got to wait 30 days to pay 10 grand out of the 18, or pay 15 out of the 18, or pay the 18. So, I mean, man, you see customers come in and like, what kind of COVID discounts y'all got? And then, you know, you're just like, COVID discounts, the price is going up.
Like, y'all don't understand what's going on.
The prices are going up over here. We're making money over here.
Yeah, so Elias, I have a question. Well, first off, I hope your dad, you know, gets well and everything soon.
Yeah.
You mentioned,
appreciate it, man. I really do.
Gone through a lot, but I guess kind of based on what you just were talking about, you know, how have you seen, you know, in the last 5-6 months, especially, your business from like your retailers? Has that increased at all or anything like that?
So in reality, for us, we do a lot of business with Gallery Furniture here in Houston. Shout out Mac, man, that guy. Houston legend.
OG, man.
Not only you know, businessman, but in terms of a leader,
He's
guy,
a good person. Yeah, good person.
That company is. I mean, that store is a well-oiled machine. From my understanding, I'm not too sure how factual this is, but the last thing I heard was per square foot, he sells more in his store on 45 than any location in the U.S. any store in the U.S. And he's not a chain. You know, he's got a couple of stores here in Houston. But man, he's marketing. I mean, his marketing is mostly free now. He's on the news every week. He's cracked the code, man. And shouts to that guy because he's a hustler, man. He's North Side born, North Side raised here in Houston. So he talks about it all the time. And he's actually opening a school, a trade school. There at Gallery Furniture, so he could start getting, you know, bringing people on to study and then become employees in the industry.
Oh, I had no idea.
Hey, is that an exclusive on Snapbacks and Mimosas? What?
Mac is doing big things for not only the community, but for the store, for his legacy. That the guy is 100%. Man, he's the greatest, one of the greatest Houstonians we've seen for sure. I use him as an example because his store, record numbers.
Really?
I mean, people, you got to give the shout to Mac because his marketing during all this is awesome. He knows how to, he's going to stay afloat for sure, but he knows how to push it the extra mile. He's going to take care of his community, but he's also going to take care of his employees and keep food on the table for them. And that means running the business as well as he can during this time. I mean, he was giving food out during COVID, you know, masks, things like that. And that's seen the tenfold. With people coming in, buying mattresses, buying sofas.
Investing back.
We've got a couple of calls our way, you know, hey, where's our product, man? You're not meeting our demands. So we're trying to push for him. Because that guy, to offer same day delivery in Houston.
That's crazy.
Wow. You know, the fourth biggest city, that guy's taking care of every customer that comes in through that door. And, you know, when you're a part of that, you're part of making sure that happens. There's a big responsibility, but I use him as an example because his numbers have only increased. A lot of our retail stores, or even our mom and pop stores, they're putting numbers up that we haven't seen in a while. You know, we've seen people come out of the woodworks this past week. You know, people that we hadn't seen in a year or two, where, you know, they're selling a mattress here and there at the flea market. They're coming in and hey, I need 10 sets of this. I need 10 queen mattresses of that. And it just puts a smile on everybody's face because people are being taken care of right now. So
that's awesome.
All right. Well, thank y'all for like sharing like the business like side of things. Now I kind of want to touch on what you guys do. Well, actually, before that, actually, what is your vision, Elias? Before I move off the business, what is your vision for your company? Like, let's say, like the next 5 years for reality, you, and then your business.
For myself, I kind of want to build on what I have to give to the company. I definitely want to go back to school, do something in finance. Probably gonna have to hit up Shameet for sure on that. Some tips, but I want to be able to, you know, get us to a point where if our company does grow, that I'm gonna be able to give something to help the company grow. I don't want to be just an employee. You know, I just don't want to be just, you know, the office or, you know, stay. You know, company's moving up, I'm staying here.
Yeah.
I want to be part of that growth. The company, man, you know, at a point we're a Houston juggernaut, and we're growing. Our products in demand, you know, upholstery, the sofas and sectionals. I mean, there's people begging for a product, and it's only a blessing that we can give thanks to God and the work we've done. But we want to get to a point where we're able to take care of more people in Houston, and then start expanding not only from here in Texas, but start expanding to the border states and moving on up. We have that capability. It's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of work. In reality, it's just really focusing in, really committing, and making sure it happens because, man, it's there. The mattress industry and the
people got to sleep.
And I tell you what, man, I have to put a little bit of humor in it for sure. But there's some dinosaurs in this industry, man. And there's some old Bible Belt ways about this industry. And we need a new face, man. We need someone to spice it up. And as soon as we do that, the takeover's there, man. Houston takeover's there. So it's really growing, expanding, and at a point, get to a point where I want to get to a point where my older brother, can go and do his thing. Because don't get me wrong, guys running the company, and man, like nobody else can right now. But he's a lawyer. You know, he's owner of the company. He's co-owner of the company. He's a lawyer, political consultant. I mean, this guy could be in Washington right now. He could have been in Washington, you know, this past couple of years. He could be working big cases right now, but the guy's at the company. And I want to get to a point where he can still do his stuff with the company, but he could also focus on what he loves to do.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, hey, man, at the end of the day, we got to let him do his thing too. And he's done a lot of work. So I want to just be able to repay that and also, you know, get us to a point where the family's taken care of. All family, you know what I'm saying? So
that's what's up. That's what's up. That's a good vision, man. That's a good vision.
Good luck to you on that in the future, man. And if there's anything we can do to help, let us know.
Hey,
always good job, man.
You know, so go get a mattress. I can attest the mattress is nice.
I'm gonna be able to deliver that to Dallas for me, man.
Hey, we've met before. I take care of you, bro.
That's nice, man. But yeah, Shameet, I want to touch on. I know in the beginning I mentioned Dream League, so
yeah,
I want to touch on that and you know how that was and you know how that is for you. Can you, first of all, tell the people what Dream League is and how it started?
Yeah, so Dream League, it's a baseball league down in Sugar Land at the First Colony Little League, and it's a baseball league for kids with disabilities. And so what we did, you know, it's still actually, it's this day, still running and everything like that, which is first off awesome to see.
Yeah.
But so what happens every weekend, there's a kid with a disability, and they're partnered with somebody called an angel. Angel in the outfield is exactly what we call them. And so that angel in the outfield, what they do is they're there just to kind of support and help the player, you know, help them hit the baseball, run the bases, field the ball, throw the ball. And although that's what we, you know, would always tell people their job is, or their job, I mean, I don't want to say it's a job. But, at the end of the day, what it came down to was being there for these kids and just kind of, you know, helping make that hour of their day every Saturday. You know, the goal was to see them smile from start to finish. You know, and that was the greatest prize of all. I mean, I could tell you of how many times I know a player that probably never even hit the ball, never wanted to field the ball. All they wanted to do was run from like second base to the fence and back. And what shocked me, and still to this day when I see it, I'm like, how do you not get tired? Like, I'm exhausted running from second base to the fence trying to chase you.
Yeah,
you're like taking off and like about to lap me, kid. Like, come on now. So, you know, just seeing those kids smile is the biggest win of all. And so kind of get back to how it started. So it got running up in 2007, actually. And, you know, I grew up playing baseball, and at our baseball facilities, before 2007, one of my really good friends, they had a cousin who had a disability. And they would always bring their cousin out to watch us play our games. And, you know, you see them sitting in the stands cheering and watching us as we play our games. And, you know, you can kind of just read them. You know, you can read people pretty well. And you could see on their face, you know, that they wanted to be out there doing something like that as well. So, you know, a bunch of my friends and I, we started talking about it. And then, you know, the friend of mine whose cousin had the disability, he talked to his mom and dad then and said, hey, you know, we were all talking about this. What do you think? And so his parents, of course, at that time, I was like, 13 years ago, like, I don't even know, when it got started, 10 years ago, 10 something. Man, I feel old. I feel old saying that now. Of course, we couldn't legally sign any paperwork or anything like that. And so we got some parents involved, and they got everything up and running. And so 2007 was our inaugural season. And we started with, I can't remember the exact number, but I think it was only like 30 or 40 players. It was really small, all in the Houston area. They'd come out. I know some kids, their families drove them for 45 minutes to an hour away to participate in this every Saturday. And, as the years went on, I was always just an angel in the outfield. I always wanted to volunteer and just be out there. And I always was kind of I just like to joke around. I would tease the kids in a way where it'd make them laugh, but not go overboard, obviously, with them. And so I always just like tease them, make fun of them. And then, then I came and I graduated high school, and so I came off to college. And my first year at U of H, I was living on campus. And I knew that first year living on campus was going to limit the amount of times I was going to be able to, participate in that every spring semester. That's kind of, where I came along to PICAP because of our philanthropy. And for me, PICAP was the only fraternity I had any interest in because our philanthropy focused on the same exact thing, helping those with disabilities, and I wanted to continue along with that. And so, joined you guys, and, sophomore through senior year, I actually commuted. So I was able to get back into volunteering every weekend. But, then it was awesome to see a lot of the brothers come down. They come down on the weekends, play the game. And to this day, I know, like, Matt Doe, he still keeps in touch with one of the players. It's great. They go hang out every once in a while. It's just when I left in 2016, because I moved to Atlanta after that, we had gone from only having 2 teams in 2007 to having 8 teams of about 20 kids, plus 4 teams of senior league players. And now senior league was if the kid was 18 and up. And so I know I graduated finance, but I don't want to do that math in my head right now. But we grew to that many players. And, as you guys know, I'm sure heard of the Little League World Series that takes place every year down in Williamsport. So actually my senior year, every year the Little League World Series, they invite two teams, and they call them the Challenger League Division. They invite 2 of the Challenger Division teams from across the nation every year to play a game. And Dream League actually got invited my senior year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so it was August of 2015. I was asked to go by the league to help out over there, and that was the same year that Pearland Little League team, the guy with the dreadlocks, that coach, that they had that incredible run and everything too. And so the morning of like that U.S. championship, it's actually really funny because it was us from Texas, and then the other challenger team was actually from Pennsylvania. And actually that same year, the U.S. championship was that Texas versus Pennsylvania. Yeah. And so it was really cool because we were playing the morning of that game. Both those Little League teams actually came and sat with our players in the dugouts during the game.
That's awesome.
All that time, those 2 hours of our game, you would think they'd want to go and, prepare for their game and everything. But they have heard so much about what the Challenger League is, heard about their leagues from their respective states, that they took out those 2 hours to come and support us, and meet the kids, take pictures with them. Here in my apartment, I got a picture of our team and the Pearland team. Picture hanging up. And, it was something that to this day I still hold very near and dear to my heart. Now that I moved back to Dallas, whenever the season, starts up, I go down there. I don't go out in the field anymore. I just kind of watch from the outside and just kind of smile and look at it all, because there's still players that started in 2007 that are there today. They're now part of that senior league. But it's just, I think they said they're over 250 to 300 players now. So they have even more teams than when I graduated in 2016. So it's
it's just constantly growing. And it's actually kind of funny because I think it was like September, October, I actually requested some information from the actual Little League because I wanted to get one going here in Dallas. And, you know, I had found a league that I was going to partner with and everything like that. And then COVID hit. And so it's all just completely gone to a standstill. But hopefully in the next year or so, my goal is to get one started here as well, and try to get that growing. And so, you know, Dream League, it's always been something that I'll hold very near and dear to my heart. Anybody listens and you're ever in the Sugar Land area and you want to go out, let me know and I will hook you up with the details on how you can help out there. And, you know, I think both of y'all have been out there once, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
So you guys, you know what it's all about. You know how fun it is. A lot of the other, Pie Cat brothers have been there. And so it was a wonderful experience and, something that I'm always going to cherish forever.
Yeah, I'm definitely put that information at the end of the show. So
Awesome.
definitely can get in contact with you.
Those
That's awesome.
Contagious, man.
Yeah.
Those are the most contagious smiles, man. Those are.
Oh yeah, it was great. I mean, I remember when it was like 20 of y'all or something came out all at once. It was so much fun. It was a great time.
That's awesome, man. And I remember that too. I was just like, I mean, having a disability myself, like just seeing that, like, it's just a different like level of connection. Seeing like them being happy and doing what they want to do, not because they're told they can do it. It's just they want to, and seeing them actually do that is like, it's amazing.
Those smiles, man, they make your week. You could be coming off like a terrible week. You go there on a Saturday and you see those kids smile, and your week just feels like it's completely taking a 360, and like you're completely good.
And well, to wrap it up, I told y'all that I'll give y'all a chance to talk about y'all Rockets.
Oh man!
So that the world knows I'm not a Rocket hater. I don't hate the Rockets.
Allegedly.
I hate LeBron, but I don't hate the Rockets. I just don't like. I hate narratives, and I hate narratives. So I'm gonna put it like that. But I'm gonna give you the chance to go ahead and talk your shit about the Game 1 win against LeBum and Unibrow.
LeBum. I mean, it was a great win to watch. Still, I mean, I still say it's a long series ahead. I mean, it's the Lakers. One of the best teams in the league this year, and LeBron. I mean, you can never put your guard down with him, in my opinion. And so it's a long series. Of course, it's always a great feeling to get off to a 1-0 start, and pretty dominant fashion. 15 points, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was the win. That's kind of like that's a statement there. People, I remember I saw something. It was probably Twig retweeted it. I mean, let's be real. It has
the fact that you said his name without him being on the podcast, he's just gonna love it even more. Continue.
I think it was him. I think he tweeted something that had like every ESPN analyst saying like Lakers.
Yeah, it was him.
Whatever it was. Yeah, it's like you look at it, you're just like, well, I bet they didn't see this coming. And if you ever don't have an opportunity, I'm going to give Puig another shout out here. If you ever don't get a chance to watch the game, just find him on Twitter, and you will pretty much get a play-by-play update, and you'll be good to go. You'll be good to go.
He's going to love that. Okay.
A very biased one, but yeah.
Oh, man. But, I mean, it was great, but, I mean, it's still a long series, so you got to see what happens.
We're 1-0, Eddie. You know how we coming in this house. You know what we got to say. But let me start off with the Game 7. Let me start off with how we ended the last series.
Oh, my God. Dude, those last 2 seconds felt longer than the rest of the game.
Man, I'll tell you what. I didn't watch Game 1 partly because I'm so mad at how we ended last series. I'm so mad at this team. I'm not a big fan of how we play basketball. It's like – it's so painful to watch us shoot threes at the end of games, even though we know they haven't been going in. Third quarter, beginning of fourth quarter, we just jack them up. And we saw with the Warriors series. Whenever we'd go down, we were like, oh, we're down. We got to catch up and shoot threes. And you know they're going to make them. They're going to make their shots. But they were making layups, too. They were building leads with layups. And we, against the Warriors, we had some of the best mid-range shooters in the game on our team. And the Warriors were like, shoot the mid-range. We were telling CP3, no, step back, take the three. No, drive it in. And, man, it was just painful. And I won't talk about CP3's injury because I'll cry. But going to this series against CP3 and the Thunder, and it's like he knew. It's like he knew. He was like telling the Thunder, like, hey, force him to shoot the three. Let him shoot the three. Yeah. They got to make it. And I'm gonna take my mid range. I'm gonna try to drive it in. I'm gonna give it to the 3-point shooters. Let Dort. Everybody was like, "Oh, Dort's having a miracle game." Yeah, but you were leaving him wide open. That's an NBA player. It's an NBA player. He's not a center. He's an NBA player. He's on the wing. He's open. He's gonna hit a few. And just to see James have that bad of a game, see Russ look really rusty coming back from injury, and him, yeah, I get that he's trying to take initiative as a leader and say, hey, I'm going to drive us forward and I'm going to push the ball and I'm going to do that. But if you're not doing, if you're not having a good day, look for the other option, man. Look for somebody else, to see his jack shots up and take the Thunder all the way to the final seconds of Game 7 with Chris Paul leading the Thunder. The guy who we traded away saying, nah, we want Russ, It was painful, but man, it was such a thrill to see that score line at the end of the game yesterday, because it seemed like Daryl Morey was like, "Hey, man, LeBron, you remember all that China stuff you didn't talk about?"
Yeah, right there.
Throw my way. Because Daryl Morey in the name of democracy, showing the Lakers what we're talking about.
In the name of Yao Ming and Jeremy Lin.
Man, but what a series we're about to get, man. Whenever LeBron has his back to the wall, that guy puts up numbers. He shows up, and if Kuzma and Rondo are gonna play like that, it might not be enough. But at least we can see LeBron ball out, and that's fun to watch, because no matter what, when that guy balls out, that's the LeBron you want to see always. You want to see LeBron take shots. You want to see him do the spin around fadeaways off the baseline.
That's facts.
The D-Wade, Kobe shots where he's like, hey, this is my ball. This is my ball. So, I'm going to take control. AD, AD's is not fun to watch in my eyes. He's athletic. He's everything. But LeBron is what we want to watch. We want to watch LeBron in his prime. Yeah. Show us why he deserves to be, the greatest. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm not going to say we're going to win, because we're Houston and things like that just don't happen all the time. Go Rockets though, man.
That was the greatest explanation of Rockets basketball ever. And I agree. I don't hate the Rockets. I just agree with that explanation of what Rockets basketball is. Yeah, and man. I hope all the Rockets fans that are listening, Robert Puig, listen to what you just said.
Glenn Jackson.
Jackson. It works. When it doesn't, it sucks so bad. It sucks so bad, man. And that's what I'm saying. And
that's exactly all I'm saying. Yeah. But I'm glad you said it. Because if I said it, it's hate.
No, but you got the hate, bro. You're talking about PJ Tucker. You're not giving him credit on that LeBron stop, bro.
Okay, but LeBron, that should have been a baseline fadeaway. What is it? What was this this reverse, like this backhand layup? What is that?
He ran into a brick, bro. You talking about the wall, right?
Cinder block, remember?
Bro, you got that's a fadeaway. That's a shimmy fadeaway.
You're talking as an MJ fan, bro.
But he's done it before.
That's not Danny Ainge backing him. He's not backing down Danny Ainge there, bro.
All I'm saying, if we're going to compare LeBron James to Michael
Heat, bro.
if we're going to compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan, I expect Michael Jordan things out of LeBron James, and that was not it.
Hey, bro, MJ's never faced PJ Tucker, so
you're right. MJ's getting shut down by PJ Tucker.
MJ gets the clamps.
Actually, no. Okay, I love PJ Tucker because he's a Carolina boy.
Yeah,
he is a Carolina boy. So I love PJ Tucker. I just that one clip, I'm just like, LeBron, that was shit. Like that was like, you didn't try. He didn't try at all. Like he didn't. But
that was a terrible shot. He threw it like this.
Yeah, like what is that?
Yeah, that's a pretty good screenshot you should take right there of Elias with that. Put that side by side with that shot.
Yeah. But yeah, man.
It's Kyle Wish's basketball, bro.
Yeah, man. But all right, man. That's where we're gonna wrap it up. But before we let y'all go, if y'all have somewhere that the masses can follow you, in terms of like your business, Elias, like where we can find your business at. And Shameet, if you got something you want to share, I don't know if you want to share your personal, you can, get the followers up.
So, well, first off, one thing I want to say to people is, it's very cliche to say, but I went through a pretty intense time back just this past January. I had a very unforeseen health thing that kept me hospitalized and everything. So, coming out of that now, for anybody out there who, has anything in mind of a, goal or something that they want to accomplish in their life, whether it's business or just whatever it is in general, take every opportunity you have every second of the day to turn that dream into reality. Because you're going to hear people say this to you, but it never hits you the same until you've gone through it, which I did, unfortunately. I came out of it, strong and everything, thankfully. But, take every second and chance that you have to make your dream become a reality, because you really don't know what's going to hit you tomorrow. Like you really don't. So that was something I just wanted to, touch on because of what I went through. And, I tell people that all the time now because of that. So, but, also a lot of people, I'm now in I work with the staffing company, but I do more finance and operations. Luckily for me, through COVID, I've been still able to keep up with, being employed and everything. And I know, unfortunately, a lot of people out there haven't. And so coming from a staffing agency, if you're somebody who unfortunately did have to lose their job due to COVID, reach out to me. I have quite a bit of connections out there in all types of different fields, finance, healthcare, IT, whatever it is. And I can absolutely do my best and try and help you out to the best of my abilities. And so, just you can find me on LinkedIn, Desai, Twitter, Insta, Facebook, whatever you want. Just hit me up, send me a message, and I will absolutely do whatever I can and best of my abilities to try and help you out, because, just want to help people out, and you don't want to see anybody suffer. So just reach out. Eddie could probably post my, links or whatever he wants to do. So handles and whatnot. He can do whatever he wants. I don't care. So just reach out to me. Let me know if I can help out in any way, and I'd be more than happy to. But that's about it for me.
Yeah, respect to that. Thank you. What's up, Elias?
Man, I want to say, man, appreciate you having us on again, man.
Sure.
Really proud of you, dude. I'm glad you did this, because you're definitely one of the people who I always saw doing something like this.
Yeah,
the charisma, the connections you got with people, man. It's really awesome. And there's really not too many people that I'd like to spend a Saturday with, in terms of sitting down, putting some drinks down, and Shameet, shout out to you, man. You've
man, keep doing you over there, Elias, man.
And man, it's great to hear some of your story. I'm glad you're okay, man. Glad you're healthy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate
definitely.
and the things you've done, man, the Dream League stuff that you put on, that you put us onto when we were in PICAP, that was definitely life changing, and seeing things, how we affect people even in a small way.
Appreciate y'all's support on that always.
Oh, man. For me, man, I mean, we're a manufacturing business. We're by the grace of God, we've been doing really good, and we're growing. So the way to help out, man, go to your local furniture store, Gallery Furniture, Katie Furniture, Hilton Furniture. You can find our product there. You could come to me directly, and I'll take care of you. There's been people in PICAP, many people in PICAP that I've taken care of already, with upholstery, mattresses, things like that. But other than that, man, big thing I just wanted to say, man, I'm glad I've spent time with y'all for sure. And checking in, man. Appreciate y'all.
Oh yeah.
It's really a really good feeling to this, and I hope more and more people do it. It doesn't have to be a podcast or anything. Just check in, have some time, spend some time, put a drink down, because this is pretty good. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, shout out you, Eddie, for putting all this together, man.
Thank y'all for coming again, man, and spending the time on a Saturday for sure with your boy. Again, this has been episode 8 of Snapbacks and Mimosas. Your host, Elias, and tune in next time. Appreciate it. Peace. Hey, thanks again for watching another episode of Snapbacks and Mimosas. I really appreciate y'all tuning in. Hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, even share it. Trying to get it out there. Again, thanks for tuning in.